Trey Knowles, today's Amazon avatar. Imagine yourself in your original indigenous state, living in the Amazon within a God-ordained realm before corruption ever entered. You exist as you were created, naked and unashamed, fully dependent on God, lacking nothing. Then Satan approaches from a different realm, roaming in search of whom he may devour, to steal, kill, and destroy. He tempts you with the things of the world, offering power, comfort, and possession in exchange for dependence on him rather than on God. God's intention for us has always been reliance on him, not on the world or its promises. Indigenous people who remain untouched by modern society live without knowledge of worldly systems, wealth, or corruption. Their lives raise a question for us today. What does it mean to truly depend on God when you know nothing of the world, and what have we traded away by knowing it so well?
Through the farms, anticipating the tribe coming. I'll put a little bit of volume so you can hear it. And then you can see this is the moment. This is us running when they're out. They're coming down the beach. Yeah. We're just...
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You see how many thousands of butterflies. But look at the way they move. Look at the way they point. Look at him with his bow.
Wow. They're trying to figure out what they're looking at.
And they didn't know what the cameras are there. So this was the guys looking out the back. So he's going, there's something back here. You could hear the women in the farm. And I'm looking in every direction because I'm going, which way is the arrow coming from? But see, he has his shotgun. This is just like a farm shotgun. Even if he shot it, you have to use a stick to bang out the shell. But see, as they come closer, they start laying down their... See, he's laying down his bow and arrow. They understand. No mole.
So these are warriors, and the way they were at first moving, it really looked like they're ready for violence. And now they're all standing in a relaxed...
Yeah.
And smiling? Are they smiling?
Smiles come at some point. I would say that one of these guys seemed like in a leadership position. He did most of the talking.
What's with the different hand gestures? The holding your hand up to the face. All of this means something.
All of this means something. Some had red smeared on their faces. Some had yellow.
Did you have a sense of hierarchy at all? Like the boss?
Again, there was just these two dominant guys, and like this guy and one other guy who looked almost like him, like his brother.
Yeah.
A lot of gesturing.
Wow. This is incredible, Paul.
Yeah. You see the rope.
Yeah.
Some of that rope is...
Yeah, I can kind of tell who the bosses are.
Right? Alright, so a few of the... But see, even that, as he's pointing, we're going, what are you pointing at?
You guys are nuts. You guys are nuts. Oh.
You see as though they're rushing in, there's this desperation, they're hungry.
Is that in the water? Is that Rommel in the water?
In this particular video, it's a guy named Liner. But like, see these guys, they're fighting over it. It's not that we're all going to share it later. It's, I get mine, you get yours. And so what does that mean?
Yeah. But here they're in peaceful mode. For sure.
Now, after we'd given them several boatloads of bananas, things did calm down. Rommel said to them, look, we've given you what we can give you. We gave you sugarcane. We gave you boatloads of plantains. And so then there came a time where things were a little more relaxed. They were walking around. At one point we had a great moment where we'd given them the plantains, we'd given them the bananas, and he'd said, look, that's it. He said, we've given you what you asked for. You asked for bananas. we don't cut the trees here. All of us here are not tree cutters. We're indigenous people, and he couldn't explain who the hell we were, but they were like, we don't cut the trees. We're not the loggers. And they're like, okay. So then at some point, Ignacio went out and like sort of like started, he'd go like this and they'd go like this, and he like danced a little bit, they danced a little bit, and then there was this very human moment of just sort of joking.
So even Ignacio warmed up.
Once he realized it didn't seem like anyone was going to die that day, things did calm down. It was a false sense of security. Here, I'll show you. There's a couple more things that are relevant here, though. Yeah, this is just them interacting with the boat.
This is truly incredible, man.
But then they don't have boats. They don't have stone tools. They don't... Imagine if you showed them ice. They wouldn't...
This is historic.
You hear Percy Fawcett encountering the tribes. We've heard of anecdotal accounts of the tribes. This is the first time that the tribes have been filmed. We can hear their voices, that there's a documented interaction happening. This now, look how comfortable he's getting. He's so close. They asked him for his shirt. He gave his shirt.
Incredible.
They asked him for his pants. He gave his pants. He was in his underwear.
Yep.
You see the shirt that's over his shoulder. Ignacio took off his Jungle Keeper shirt and threw it to the anthropologist, and then the anthropologist walked it off and threw it to them. So over the shoulder of that uncontacted naked warrior is a Jungle Keeper shirt with the logo showing. So they're like their second shirt.
And you just upgraded that guy's status in the tribe. He's gonna be the new boss with that shirt.
He's got a dope ass polo.
Yeah.
He didn't even have to order it. But yeah, this is in like the aftermath when things were calm. And then my sort of moment with this that really stuck with me was when Rommel said to me, he said, they're asking about you. And I said, what are they asking? I said, me? And he goes, yeah, they're asking about you. And, again, I'm not tall, but compared to the people in the village, I was a little bit taller and big shoulders. And he said, they said, you look like a warrior. He said, could you come forward? He said, show them that you don't mean any harm. He said, show them your palms. And so he pulled me up onto the beach. And this was right before they left. But see, I hold up my hands, listen. And they sang back. Cantando, they're singing. They raise their hands, I raise my hands.
Wow.
Voy a cantar.
And then we were left with watching them walk off the beach into the jungle with everything that we'd given them. And they were gone. And so we went downriver the next day, and the community said to us, okay, now you understand this is real. This is terrifying. You felt that fear. You have a duty, if you're going to protect this river, to protect us from them and to help us figure out what future they want. If they want to come to us, if they want to learn farming, whatever it is, that's fine. But they were like, we need protection from you guys. And then in this video in the beginning, I'm sort of narrating to the camera and walking around right as they're coming up the beach. But you see this guy right there in the blue shirt.
Mm-hmm.
That's George. And he was very friendly, very confident with this. He said, don't be scared. They're not going to hurt us. And the next day we went back to town, long journey back to town, and go to sleep. We wake up in the morning and we find out that the following early morning, our friends in the community had said, okay, the tribe is gone. We gave them all the things they wanted. We gave them sugarcane, bananas. We said, please come back. You're welcome here anytime. And George was driving a boat, and there was people on the boat. And as they were going upriver, the tribe, 200 of the tribe ran out, surrounded the boat, and they started firing arrows, and everybody else could hit the deck and get under the benches and hide behind bags of rice. George was driving, and he was leaning back as he's driving, and he's driving as fast as he can, and one arrow came in just above his scapula and came out by his belly button. And so he had that 7-foot arrow tip through him. And so they pulled him out, and I saw the boat afterward, and there's just, horrific amounts of blood all over the boat, and he had to be medevaced out, and somehow he lived. and we were able to help getting him a helicopter, getting him evac'd, all this. But again, you just go, you know, these people came out of the jungle and they asked for bananas. We gave them bananas, and we, in every way possible, said we mean peace. We want friendship with you, and then the next day, they attacked.
What do you think happened? Why do you think their mind turned? Or maybe this has to do with the role of violence in their society. Maybe it's so integrated into how they interact with the world that they don't even see that as a fundamental shift in the interaction.
I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. And the only thing I can think is that the way they hid the women from us, you don't know, for them, maybe we're not allowed to see their women, you know, or because the one thing that we got was that as George's boat and this other boat were going upriver, which is how they live. It's not like they were doing anything wrong. These people live in a community days into the Amazon. They were going fishing. And so they came around a bend, and I think they spooked the tribe. The tribe might have just acted defensively and said, we don't know who this is. The motors could have set them off. We don't know. They shot him. And then the other thing is the thing with the necklace. I've asked anthropologists about this, and their answer was that at this point, they said, you know more than we do. But that.
Yeah.
Because two of them had the exact same item around their necks. And it seems to be a Brazil nut and then some sort of casing around the side. And it looked like animal teeth positioned in there. And it's like, what are you carrying? Are you carrying medicine? Are you carrying some sort of a totem? But both of them, and it's not a comfortable thing to wear around your neck, you know, a grapefruit sized bigger.
Do you have a sense that that's a container, or is it just like a totem?
It seems like a container. They didn't let it get wet. They cared for it. The guy in this picture, so he's got this is a piece of tree fiber that he has it on, and then he's gotten his hands on Brazil nut sacks, plastic sacks from one of the farms across the river. And so they take, and one of them got a machete, and he was walking as they were leaving. Again, during that period where it got friendly, he was leaving and he had the machete and he was playing with the machete and like swinging it at butterflies. And one of my friends, this guy Bacho, he goes, déjame machete. He was like, you know, drop the machete. And the guy just looked at him and was like, yeah, come and get it. You know, I was like, yeah, you cross the river and see what happens.
Do you think he figured out, or they later figured out how to use a machete?
Oh, they know machete.
They understand machete.
Yeah. They do raids for machetes.
Okay.
Yeah.
They understand the power of a sharpened metal.
It's a Excalibur sword to them,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, that one has stuck with me because I go, what were they carrying in there?
So what are some of the questions? Like, if you can know everything you'd want to know about them. So maybe in the space of communication and language, that's really interesting. You mentioned that there's all kinds of calls, animal calls. So they obviously know how to fake animal calls.
Yeah, they can use animal calls with enough complexity that they can do basic commands. So they can speak in Capuchin. They use Tinamu calls. Some of our rangers were upriver a few months ago. This is long after this. This is recently. Just recently, they were upriver and they found a trail, let's say Nomole Trail, a Mashkopiro Trail, and it was Ignacio, of course. And he made there's like a secret whistle they do, this mouth, and he whistled out into the jungle, and he was listening, and they whistled back. And so him and everybody on the team just ran back to the boat and got out of there. But it was like, at least they answered. They didn't just shoot. He whistled, they whistled, and they said, out. And he got out. But it's like, we don't know, where are the old people? Do they not survive? What are the marriage rituals? How is reproduction handled? There's one or two children in the Amazon that I know of who have, you know, washed down river on a log and been rescued by communities and then raised, and they either learn the native dialect or Spanish. And then, of course, at some point, somebody will go and say, what was it like when you lived with them? And the answer is always the same. I forget. They don't talk about it.
So maybe we know that they value secrecy. I mean, when you're afraid of the outside world, you don't. Part of that is confidentiality. They all sign NDAs.
Yeah. There's some really good NDAs.
It's understood. It's an NDA. You can't There's no lawyers. There's only one way to execute the law.
Yeah, it's either a really strong NDA or that it is savage. That they're living out there in the jungle and that you're eating monkeys and turtles and you're hungry for days on end. And, your wife might get stolen by another tribe. Your baby might get stolen. I mean, imagine the bot flies and the things that they must put up with. It's just, I mean, what we experienced in 3 days of living out with modern camping gear and headlamps and a sense of direction. And they're doing none of that. You could put us out there naked. A very different story. So
yeah, the brutality of nature.
Yeah.
Werner Herzog comes to mind. That they have to live in that.
Yeah.
But there's something about the jungle that serves as a catalyst for spirituality. So they must also have a religious component, a spiritual component that probably unifies them. There must be an ideology they operate under.
There must be, and there's many things they must have. They must have a belief system. They probably have amazing origin stories. It would be amazing to know what things they have accurately and inaccurately guessed about us, about the outside world. I mean, they've never heard of the country they live in, or of World War II or any of it. And so seeing them come across the beach was surreal because it's like this aperture into history.
By the way, I mean, you do have a certain look. So you realize, like, I'm singing to you, your face is carved in some wood somewhere. And there's a few of them gathering around and, like, still singing about the great gringo, with the full beard
and the big nose. They probably drew this, like, he's got hair all over his face and a huge nose, and they tell their children.
And it could be anything. You could be like, to the children, they say, this is the monster you should be afraid of, or this could be the most beautiful encapsulation of the outside world. It could be everything in between. You don't get to control the myths.
You don't get to control the myths. Yeah, God only knows. But I mean, it's
so interesting.
So now in that 130,000 acres that we have, we know, and this is what we sort of have to come out of the closet with this. Like, we are now protecting these people, and the only way to do that is to make sure that they're not contacted, let alone that they don't get machine guns shot at them by the narcos, or that crazy, hippie gringos don't go down there thinking they're gonna, join the coolest commune on earth.
So how much of the land that they move about is within the 130,000 acres of rainforest you've been able to save, and how much of it is not? How much of it is in the extra 200,000 acres that you're trying to save?
Most of that 200,000 that we're still trying to protect is territory that is theirs. And in order, people always ask me this, they're like, first, a lot of people ask, how could you buy the Amazon? They're like, that doesn't make sense. And it's like, well, bad news for you. Somebody already owns it, and we have to buy it from them so that they don't log it. And so these landowners are going to sell their forest to the logging companies, because owning 10,000 acres of the Amazon doesn't help you if you're a third generation jungle man. And now it's just something that's up there and you live in the city. And so they're going to contract either the narcos or the loggers or the miners to go out there and use it, and they'll get a little money. And those people, when they see these people, will kill them. That's for sure. And shotguns and machine guns in the end will win, not to mention the germs.
So all the money you're trying to raise and all the land that you're trying to save, it's all towards that. Protecting the deep jungle. So when you buy up the jungle, you just want to let it be, let the natural ecosystem come back to life in the cases when it was logged, or just flourish if it hasn't.
Again, we're talking about the last great jungle. I always called it the last endless forest, because this place is so incredibly remote. And then the other question I always get is people say, well, why is this river so important? And for my whole career, my whole time, 20 years in the Amazon, it's been that it's massively intact forest. Places like the ancient forest where the trees have never been cut. So it's forest that's been growing since the dawn of time, and thousands of species can be on a single shiwawako tree. And it's Avatar on Earth. It's you can see the sweat come off your skin and rain down and then drink it out of the river, and you're part of the chemical physical reality there. And so it's one of the last places that's untouched. This changed everything because we realized that along with the butterflies and the monkeys and the jaguars and the trees and the ecosystem, there's also a human culture that will, in the next few years, cease to exist, that will be exterminated if we don't protect them. And when you look back at what happened to indigenous cultures all over the world over the past few centuries, that they've been wiped out, we collectively now, because we know this, have a chance to undo all of the injustices that happened in the past by at least doing one right. By saying these people want one thing, to just be left alone. Imagine if we just protected the river. And then it's not that they're this thing that's vanishing from reality, but they get to continue living that way. And then if they want to come out and contact us, great. And if they want to continue living like this for the next 10,000 years, they can. And that's what we're working with now. It's become so much more important than just, we're trying to protect the environment. It's like, no, we're trying to protect, things like Yellowstone and Yosemite and the sequoias that occur nowhere else on Earth. You protect the things that are unique and special, the crown jewels, and in both a biological way and as well as a anthropocentric way. This has now become a river with global historic significance because this story is going to play out in the next 18 months.